Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole, and today I'm going to be talking about what I am currently reading. So, if you saw my last reading update, I have finished my 30,000 page challenge, so I no longer need to count how many pages I'm reading each week, which is nice. So, let's go ahead and get into the books that I finished this week. I finished two books this week, and the first one is Armadale by Wilkie Collins. I have really been enjoying all the Wilkie Collins books that I have been reading of late, and this is the most recent one. However, I was a bit disappointed. This was nowhere near as good as I was hoping, sadly. I rated this book at 3. I'll go ahead and start out by saying that it was good. I think just compared to his other works, it really kind of dragged for me. And that was probably one of the things that I liked about it the least. I do think some of that was this particular edition that I have where the font in it is very small. So I do think that made it deceptive about how long it was going to take to read each page. But despite that, I did find that towards the middle of the book, it really started, the pacing started to slow down. But before I get too much further into this, let me talk about what this book is about. This book features at the very beginning in the prologue a gentleman named Alan Armadale who finds himself in a foreign country having to confess to a stranger his darkest secrets in hopes that he will save his son from the same fatal mistakes that he made in life. The prologue to this book, I can't even begin to explain how exciting and dramatic and gripping it was. It was a bit longer of a prologue, but it read so fast because it was just, you just wanted to know what was going to happen. Wilkie Collins, I think one of the things that he does best, and he did it well in this book, is he knows how to build suspense and mystery into a novel. And the prologue was no exception to that. He used every single page and paragraph to that effect. That said, for as amazing as the beginning of this prologue was, it very quickly started to peter down for me. Uh, and I just found that towards the middle section of the book, after everything had been built up and kind of settled, it really settled and it really slowed down. And that was the first time the previous couple of books I've read by Wilkie Collins where I found a section in his book that I didn't think was well paced. I think I was a bit surprised by that because Armadale is considered one of his four greatest works. But to me, I would say of those four works, which are The Moonstone, No Name, and The Woman in White, as well as Armadale, that thus far I'd probably say Armadale comes in last of those four for me. I haven't reread The Woman in White, but I read it a long time ago, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to love that one again too, so we'll see. Um, like I said, I do think the particular format of this book did kind of make a difference in that, so I'm going to pay attention to that with these older world classics. That said, there were things in this book that I really liked. I already said that, the suspense in this at portions are just as good and just as gripping in any Wilkie Collins. So if you like a suspense, I don't know that I'd call it a thriller, but I would definitely say all of his works are suspenseful reads, in my opinion. I also like his characterizations. He does really strong, unique, interesting characters. Sometimes some of them can be one-dimensional, but I can say for sure you're always going to find at least one character who you just absolutely love. And I hate to say it, but for me, it's often not the protagonist. It's quite frequently an antagonist, or even a side character. So I kind of never really know. In this case, my absolute favorite was Miss Gwilt. Um, that was just a character that was just everything that I would want a female character in a Victorian novel to be. She was a very strong-willed, strong-minded woman, but she still had a lot of her own particular femininity. She knew what she wanted, and she was gonna go for it. And I won't say that much else about her. That said, I did find some of the other characters surrounding her to be pretty flat and not quite as complex. So that was a bit disappointing. That said, there were a lot of things to really like about this book. I think my favorite was the exploration of the topic of fatalism and superstition. You can see I did tab this book. All the purple tabs in here are things that are referencing this idea of fatalism and superstition. And that was probably one of the themes that kept me going through the entire book. If you saw the quote that opened this section, to me, that is the quote in this book that basically gets to the author's intent in what he is trying to explore with his characters. And that quote is, "My son, the only hope I have left for you hangs on a great doubt. The doubt whether we are or are not the masters of our own destinies." And so I think if you wanted to read this book, I would recommend it to somebody who really enjoys a mystery and, or not so much mystery, but maybe a novel with a lot of suspense, likes classics or maybe not, and likes books that explore themes such as destiny and fatalism. So you will get a lot of that in this book. So that's it for me with this one. They can't all be winners. I think that's that's my takeaway on Armadale. I did like it. I just didn't love it as I was thinking I would. And I will continue to read more of Wilkie Collins' works, and I'm looking forward to that in the future. The next book I read is The Confessions of Nat Turner by William Styron, or rather, I should say, this is the next book that I finished. So I did have a goal of finishing this by the end of February, and I'm happy to say that I achieved that. Well, I guess I'm happy that I achieved that. This book was really a surprise to me and not in a good way. I gave it 1 star for a variety of different reasons, and it actually became an entire book project for me. So I will be doing a single book review on this, discussing this book and the project that it's become for me and all my thoughts in more detail. But for now, I will give you just a few quick highlights, including what this book is about. So, this book is basically an attempt at imagining the life and motives of Nat Turner, who was the leader of the 1831 American Slave Rebellion. William Styron tries to do a first person narration of Nat Turner surrounding the historical document of his confessions. And you will notice that I am using the word attempt a lot. And I think that's largely why I'm going to give this book a 1, is that I think it was a failed attempt. I feel like ultimately, if I had to summarize my thoughts on this book, I would say it felt more like the Confessions of William Styron. And they were kind of creepy and weird and not good at all. At best, I would say I found this book awkward, distracting at times, and full of a lot of stereotypes and perspectives that were maybe really personal to William Styron, which you would expect to get from an author. I was just surprised by how much we got that from the author. I'm looking forward to going into a more in-depth review of this, but this is honestly a book that on my scale of things to read, 5 being a book that I would recommend to everyone and think is noteworthy, all the way down to 1 where books that I would not recommend personally and don't think are worthy of note. Yeah, this is a 1. So sadly, William Styron gave me my first 1-star read of the year, and hopefully my only 1-star read of the year. Let's be honest. Who wants a ton of those? Okay, so that gets me on to what I am currently reading. One of the books I am currently reading that I keep forgetting to mention, I don't know what that means about this book, is a book that I'm reading for my family book club, and that is The Waters by Bonnie Jo Campbell. I am listening to this on audiobook on Everand, so I do not have a copy of the book, but I will put a picture of it on the screen. I don't have a copy of this book, so I will just use my little note card to share what I feel like this book is about so far. So, The Waters is a story of unique women living in the swamps of Michigan. I had no idea that Michigan had swamps, but okay. And each is as unique as the name that they go by. You have Hermine or herself, and I do feel like there is a lot of medical metaphorical statements that come out in the names of these women. You also have Rose Thorn, Primrose, Dorothy, who also goes by Donkey, and Molly. This book combines a variety of different themes, including discussing topics such as environmentalism, family, and feminine mystique. So thus far, I think the book is pretty good. It's got some interesting things going for it. I think my favorite thing that I'm seeing reoccur here and there is every time the use of the character Hermione goes by herself, it really changes how you read the sentence and really draws forth that book to life connection. I maybe more so for women than it would for men. I don't know. I can't give that male perspective. So that's The Waters. That's all I have to say about it so far. That was not originally on my TBR because my family, we just kind of pick books as we kind of go along. So we will probably be reading this for the next couple of weeks. So you'll probably see in at least one or two more currently readings before I wrap it up. And the final book that I am currently reading is Dune by Frank Herbert. So this is the classic sci-fi novel, some would say sci-fi fantasy, that's basically a political saga that takes place on the desert planet of Dune. In this book, myth, legend, greed, power, and religion all collide in one place. I think Frank Herbert is really a master of incorporating different topics into his book. I think that's one of the things that I like is that he has a lot of different things that he's getting you to think about while still telling a story. For me, so far, the only thing that I'm probably not liking about this book is I think there's maybe a little too much going on in it, especially just behind the scenes, if you will. So in the background of the characters' lives, there's political intrigue and plotting and threats and religion and myths, and everybody has their own like subplot, basically. Yeah, maybe that's what it is I feel like there's 1,000 subplots going on in this book, and I'm not sure I like it. Um, and I'm a little torn right now. I'm not sure if I don't like it because it's personal preference and I just don't like it, or I'm not sure if I don't like it because it's just not done well. I feel constantly like I just don't have enough information, and that's despite the fact that before reading this book, I have seen the first movie as well as read two, three of the graphic novels, and I still kind of feel like I barely know what's going on, um, and not in a good way. So we'll see how I end up. I am very close to finishing, so I will finish this before February ends, but not before I had to make this video and post it. So my video next weekend will be the final pages of Dune, or really my final thoughts on Dune, as well as my February wrap up. But that is all that I have finished in this past week. That is all that I am currently reading. That's it for now. So I'm excited about what I've done so far this month and where it's going. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I've mentioned in this video and how you like them. And yeah, I guess that's it for now. Bye. This book combines myth. This book combines this book combines. This book is a combination of